hello, hello, hello. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of Up Close and Personal with Angela on behalf of Aspiring Authors Magazine and the Crew Podcast. I am super, super excited to be bringing to you guys the 100 authors to watch for 2025. I am super, super excited to be able to share them with you guys. If you would, take a moment to share this out in your circle of influence. Share this with somebody. You never know what the next person may be in need of and what nuggets may be dropped on tonight. We have one of the amazing authors that's a part of this amazing movement. I'm going to bring him up and allow him to introduce himself on tonight. Let me get him in the screen, y'all. This new platform got me kind of slow, y'all, but I'm okay. We yet pressing, we yet pressing, we yet pressing. See if I can get them on the screen. Dr. Kerry, welcome, 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 welcome. How are you?
Hello, hello. I am well. How are you tonight?
I'm great. I can't complain. Ain't no need complaining.
Absolutely,
If you would
absolutely.
introduce yourself to those that are tuned in, let them know who you are.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Kerry Brackett, writer, professor, author, hailing from Birmingham, Alabama. I write poetry and I also write fiction, suspense, mystery. Just published two novels this past year. One is called Shadows at Sundown, and the other was called the Spirit of Kwanzaa. In lieu of the Kwanzaa holiday. Shadows at Sundown is actually part of the series called Journeys of the Unseen, where we center around a black couple, James and Nikki, where they encounter different towns that have different um, vibes as far as history and also climates as well. Shadows at Sundown, this is where they actually encounter a sundown town while on vacation. So definitely, get a copy of that. It is available now on Amazon and Kindle. And the next edition or the next installment will be Echoes of the Past. That's coming out next month, February 1st exactly, where James and Nikki they will be at the site of the last racial riots, where basically they encounter the some of the ghosts and spirits, from around that racial riot around that town, and basically trying to survive, um, just like they survived the sundown town. So definitely get a look at that and just go from there.
So, are you a traditional publisher or you a self-published author?
I So with the novels I self-published, I've been playing around with traditional and self-publishing, here and there. I felt like with the self-publishing, it would allow me the freedom to tell the story of going through sundown towns and racial climates and so on and so forth. Because I tried to shop around with traditional publishers, but it was like each time I did, they wanted to change some aspect of it, and I wanted to make sure that the authenticity and also the message from this story was still going to be told the way I wanted it to. So that's why I stuck with self-publishing for the novels.
Wow. So, what have been some of the challenges that you have experienced as a self-published author?
One main thing with the self-publishing is that basically you're the one-man band. Like basically you're responsible for the success of the book. Basically, you market the book, you edit the book, you promote it, you format it. And even though saying the reward is twofold, however, basically the amount of time and energy that you have to spend as far as trying to make sure the books are successful. There'll be sometimes where you have to spend long nights just to make sure that the books are successful. Also, basically take a gauge as far as the interest of the book from your audience or what have you. So being a teacher myself, I had to put myself, in the seat of a student as far as learning the ins and outs of self-publishing, that kind of thing. Just to truly understand, saying how can I make this novel and a novel series, more successful.
So what have been some of your um challenging points, and what is your most proudest point as a self-published author?
Some of the challenging points, I would say definitely the timing, because basically, as a self-publisher, like I said, basically you're responsible for success of the novel. So no matter what, however the time and energy you spent, is basically going to reflect that as far as success of the novel. So there's been a lot of times where I would have to learn the marketing aspect. Do I do it through social media? Do I go through newspaper? Do I go through book groups and so on and so forth? It's just basically learning more on gauging the audience. How can I utilize these channels to make sure these books are actually being reached to different audiences and so on and so forth. I have them both available both on Amazon and Kindle, and what I've noticed was that I've had a lot of success selling the print option, but as far as Kindle, uh, I was quite surprised knowing that there's not a lot of people that actually use Kindle. So with that, I still still utilize that option just in case. I even use the have it offered through the Kindle Unlimited program. So basically, learning more on how to market it as an ebook, and basically staying consistent as far as marketing. That was some of the challenge aspects, but the main I would say success that I've heard that I've had with especially with Shadows of Sundown. I was at an event for work, as my job as an educator, where basically I was supposed to, talk about my research for a project that I was in, and one of the higher ups from the administration basically stopped me because she has a copy of my book, and she basically told me to tell everybody about my book, and I actually had copies, on hand, and I sold out of them that in about an hour at that event. So that was my proud moment because, especially me coming from the poetry ranks and now, switching over to fiction and suspense. Uh, yeah, that just made me, humble knowing that, people wanted to learn more about Sundown Towns and wanted to know more about my story. And even after, that, I still have people asking me, hey, do you have copies of this book? Hey, when is book two coming out? That kind of thing. So just hearing that excitement definitely humbled me, with that experience.
And to hear you say that you have trouble with ebooks, when I hear the opposite for other people. Like they have problems selling the paperback books. They can't get the paperbacks to go nowhere, but they can get the ebooks to fly off the shelf.
Hmm.
Where your particular group leader for the 100 authors movement, she's a librarian.
Mm.
She works at one of the libraries in Charleston, and she loves ebooks because while she's sitting at those desks, she can be reading those books. Well, the books can be reading to her. So she loves ebooks, and what I've come and I've been telling a lot of we gonna have to work on some stuff with you with the ebook so we can get your ebooks to going,
Mm.
because if you can help us share how you got your paperbacks to flying off the shelf with the group, then
Mm.
yeah. See that's what I'm telling people. If there's somebody over here that is good at one thing, and then there's somebody over here good at something else, and if we can come together, then we all can sell some good books.
Absolutely.
We all can rank up, because we've had people say that they can't get a paperback book to sell off the shelf, but they can sell and get people to buy the ebook. So
Mm.
I'm definitely glad to have you in the fold to be able to share your insights and the information that you have utilized and the things that have worked for you. They may not work for everybody, but
Right.
at least we'll have that nugget. We'll have that insight that has worked for you. So thank you for sharing that on tonight. I want to know, on this journey, where did you find that discover that niche, that where you felt like you were truly writing and expressing Dr. Kerry?
Oh man. I would say when I made that decision to, start exploring other genres, because my first love was basically poetry. When I went to grad school, you had to train in two genres. So my first genre was poetry, and I obviously the second was fiction. And a lot of my homework assignments, from the fiction classes, what I'm saying, basically, I had professors say, "Oh, those are great stories," or "That's a great, viewpoint," and so on and so forth. But even after that, I basically sat on those stories. And recently, I was, taking a reflection of myself and then thinking, okay, what can I do now? I've got the awards. I've, performed this, this many times. I've been, widely recognized as a poet. What else can I do? And someone just hit me. It's like, wait, I got all these short stories. I've got all these opportunities to, publish, short stories or fiction. So I started, investigating, different avenues as far as small presses, anthologies, and so on and so forth. And once my first and second short story got published in anthologies, now I started looking at, okay, let's look at the possibility as far as doing novels, that kind of thing. And once I started with Shadows at Sundown, uh, I realized that with my voice, because I'm always a fan of becoming a voice for our culture,
Mhm.
and me coming up from Birmingham, Alabama. Uh, Obviously, the history as far as like civil rights movement and so on and so
Mhm.
forth. We've been widely recognized by that, but we still have towns, in the state that are recognized as sundown towns. Case in point, there is a sundown town that was literally not even an hour away from our location. Uh, they recently was trying to do an attraction, trying to recruit, well, trying to basically get more people of our community to come, celebrate the holidays and so on and so forth. And they got a lot of backlash because that city still is widely known as a sundown town. So it's like, oh, you can celebrate the holidays, but until the sun sets. So it was like basically uh funny that said they had that concept. So when I released Shadows at Sundown, that was when the backlash happened. And what was even more interesting was the fact that I had basically published a TikTok talking about the irony of Shadows at Sundown and how it was going on around the same time where this actual town in Alabama was getting the backlash as far as trying to you know, rewrite the wrongs of their history. And I actually got responded to by uh, a bigot, if you will, basically saying how I'm still talking about the same thing, that I'm pushing a certain narrative, that, and quote, this was the funniest quote, that I was the author for the book of shame for white people. And it shocked me because I was like, wait, what? And, the more and more I heard about it, the more I was listening to it, the more I was like, oh, I touched a nerve. Oh, I know. If I, say like
Hmm.
my mentor always say all the time, say people are not talking about not talking about you, you're not doing anything. So for the sad fact that somebody
That's it.
responded to this, that means I'm doing something. So with that, uh, me being myself and me being passionate about our culture, that kind of thing, I took it as okay. Now I'm doing something. So now I got to go even further just to make sure that our stories are being told. Just so that make sure that saying our culture is still being recognized and still being promoted. Saying amongst the literary community.
Wow, that's amazing. That is so amazing. I'm glad that you are attached to this movement. I'm excited about the perspective that you can help bring to this movement. Just seeing um, brown authors to be able to come together and to share their different perspectives. in their different insights on the different experiences, the different things, because they're taking everything away from us. They're taking
Hmm.
everything out of the school. They want to take our history away. They want to take those things that define who we are and
Hmm.
are helping us, still find out who we are. Because wow, thank you for what you're doing and for allowing your voice to be heard. Um, what are some things that you would like to take away from this movement?
Oh, absolutely. Obviously, the networking part, like you said, you just hit it on the head as far as being in this community of other brown authors. What I'm saying, basically hearing the different perspectives from different genres. Fiction, nonfiction, self help. Mysteries, or so on and so forth. Just hearing, the different perspectives from the different genres, while at the same time, we're coming together to see, okay, what issue that we got to talk about, that we got to promote, to make sure that it's being promoted while it's still creating awareness for as far as our community, because like you said, there there's a lot of gatekeeping as far as us. Think about it. You go to the Books of Millions, or your airport bookstores, and so on and so forth. you know a lot of our books are either on the bottom shelf or hidden, you know in a
Mhm.
way that you can't really reach it, or even
Just
take it a
ain't
step
there,
further, huh?
or
Or
they
even
just
take
not there.
they're just not there. No, absolutely. And especially, saying for those of us that, even going through the traditional publishing or even the self-publishing ranks, uh, there is still this perception. I don't know why, but it's still this perception that, that our community don't like to read. And I got that actually from I was actually at a conference recently for English professors, and they I told them, hey, I was teaching at a HBCU, a historically black college, being an English professor. I told them about the books that I was writing, and the first question they asked was, okay, uh, are you writing it at their level, at their reading level? Try to indicate that saying they don't read. And it shocked me, but it didn't shock me, just because of the fact that there's still this, you know, uh, I don't want to say, how you want to say, like, perception, or this uh, nuance, as far as people automatically assuming that we don't read, or we don't like to read, that kind of thing. When in actuality, that's the total opposite. To think
And it's
about
so
all the
crazy. But
yeah,
it's so crazy because if you go back and you really look at history, who you think taught all of those other kids?
absolutely,
Our
absolutely,
ancestors, our
our
mothers
ancestors.
that were the house moms. They
Hmm.
were teaching those kids how to read because their
Hmm.
parents sure wasn't doing it.
Right, right,
So
absolutely.
that perception there is just, yeah, that if you put it in a book, they'll never find it.
Find it.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
that's been their perception for many years. But lo and behold, we do like to read.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then on top of that, especially with I can tell you, like, how many of my especially my family members, or even my friends, like, they brag about their libraries. And said, we even have conversations, so like, hey, have you read this book, or have you read this book, have you read this author, have you think about this perspective, that kind of thing. Like, we're even working on, at the school that I'm teaching at, we're actually working on the 10 books that you have to read as an HBCU student. Like, what books that you have to have in your library, saying, being part of this community. We were talking about the likes of Carter G. Woods, and Toni Morrison, the late Nicky Giovanni, and so on and so forth. Because there's different viewpoints that we have to consider, while at the same time, thinking about the issues that we have to uphold, or that we got to talk about, just so that we can learn to advance as a community. In our nation.
Exactly. Well, I tell you, this has been amazing tonight, and we're definitely going to have to get together, and talk more, because we need to see how we can bring this movement to
Hmm.
Birmingham,
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
how we could impact the community. and more HBCUs. We definitely need to see how we can get involved and get some of these authors' books in some of their libraries
Hmm.
and different other things. So
Absolutely.
I'm excited about 2025. I want you to share with the listeners. I heard you mention that you have some new projects that you're working on and some new projects that you have coming out. What can we expect for 2025?
Oh man, 25, it is going to be the year that you fully see, you know, the plethora of Dr. Kerry Brackett. Like I said, the Journeys of the Unseen series, book two and book three are going to come out. Book two is Echoes of the Past. This is where James and Nikki will be at the site of the last racial riot. And then book three, the final installment, will be Light on the Horizon. That's coming out in June. This is where James and Nikki will be at the Civil War site. But here's the kicker: James will find out that his ancestors fought for the Union in the Civil War, while Nikki will find out that her ancestors fought for the Confederacy for the Civil War. And they will encounter their those spirits and so on and so forth. And then their relationship will be challenged because of the fact that, you know what I'm saying, it's not uncommon where you had blacks fighting for both sides in the Civil War. So how do you, address that in modern times? So that series, will be complete in June, and I even published a Juneteenth story called "Whispers of Juneteenth." This is where a historian, a black historian, will encounter his ancestor, who was one of the first to celebrate Juneteenth. That's going to come out actually on Juneteenth. I'm definitely excited about that, and that's going to be on Kindle as well. And then I am going to switch uh, viewpoints, if you will, in July with my Echoes of Valor series. Echoes of Valor basically centers around a black veteran. He was served in the Navy. He was the last survival of one of the ships that actually suffered from the war on terror. And basically, you're going to center around basically his uh, upbringing and his journey, basically overcoming, the PTSD, the doubt, self doubt, basically his inner battles as a black veteran, and so on and so forth. So that first book, The Memory of Thunder, that will come out in July, and then also in November, the second book, The Echoes of War, that's going to come out with that. And I even coming out with a short story collection. Which is going to be a series of suspense stories, ghost stories, and so on and so forth, basically called When the Ancestors Whisper, Tales of Suspense and Mystery. That's going to come out in October. The reason I come up with that, which is basically to bring different perspectives as far as, what would happen if we actually learn what the ancestors are thinking, or how they encounter modern times, basically, and this book actually came from a dream that I had, basically where I was at this dinner table, and everyone that was around was either a past loved one or an ancestor that I learned about. And basically, they was offering like words of encouragement, or or different perspectives, that kind of thing, or just definitely questions that they had about why the community has turned this direction, or why we stopped pushing this issue, that kind of thing. So taking that experience and putting it into a book, that was a great experience, and it was actually challenging because you're thinking about the different issues and the different concepts. What do we want to include into a book? And I didn't want it to put too many in there to actually lose interest. So it was like basically I had to pick like the top 10 to 15 uh, topics to talk about.
Mm.
Uh, so to include in this collection. So I'm definitely excited about that. Um, and like I said, this year is basically showing flexing the plethora of my pen, as far as suspense and mystery, different viewpoints as far as Black veterans and Civil War and racial riots and so on and so forth. So with that, I'm definitely excited about 25, and definitely look out for these releases this year.
Well, I'm definitely excited for you in the work that you're doing and the perspective that you can bring to the 100 authors movement. For that author or for that aspiring author that may be losing hope or think that their voice is not as loud or their light is dimming, what would you say to them to encourage them to stay on the journey and to keep penning?
Basically, that this is a journey, not a 40-yard sprint. And I say that because obviously, this is one of those journeys that, you know, there's going to be ups and downs, but as long as you keep going, what I'm saying, you're going to reach your destination. And your story is going to touch someone, whether it's one or 10 or even 100, it's going to reach someone. Uh, and so basically, as us writers, we have this gift to actually put thoughts and feelings onto paper, actually make it make sense, to be able to communicate our feelings, our issues, or what have you. Just keep going. Somebody's going to see your book, somebody's going to see your writing, and they're going to connect with you. And basically, as long as you keep going, as long as you keep writing, someone is going to, connect with your writing, and they're going to be inspired. They are going to, you know, consider your viewpoint. They are going to adopt, your voice. So just keep going and never give up.
So if individuals want to support you, they want to follow you, they want to grab some books, they want to, check out what you're doing, how can they stay connected to you?
Oh man. So you can definitely follow me on Amazon, also Goodreads. I also have my website, Dr. Kerry Brackett, as you see on my nameplate, drkerrybrackett.com. You'll have all of my books on there, and they'll send you directly over to the Amazon site. As far as how to download or how to purchase a printed copy. On Goodreads, I've been doing a blog as well, thinking about different aspects as far as culture, awareness, writing, and so on and so forth. So definitely follow me on that. I am also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Same handle at Dr. Kerry Brackett. That's with two R's, Kerry, and that's with two T's, Brackett.
Well, awesome, awesome, awesome. I definitely want to thank you for stopping by and sharing with us on tonight. And if y'all want to get them autographed copies of those books, y'all always can go to their websites, order it from their website, get that autographed copy of that book. And that's how you truly support the authors. I say only go to Amazon and them other places if you all the way on the other side of the country. But if I can get it to you, go to the website, get it, because that's how you support your local author. So y'all go out, support him, get some books, check out his blog, see what he got going on. Make sure you're following him for 2025 because you may see us in his town. You may see AALAC in Aspiring Authors Magazine in the town. So again, I want to thank you, Dr. Brackett, for stopping by and sharing with us on tonight. Before we leave, I always ask my guests to share something positive and encouraging to leave those that are tuned in um, encouraged and wanting more, so they'll go follow you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, the year 24, we've said a lot of things, what we are going to do, what we plan on doing, what we may consider, or we may have written it down or put it on a vision board. 25 is the year of confirmation. This year that we actually followed through with what we said we was going to do. So that book that you said that you was going to write it. That book that you was going to publish it. The thing that you said you was going to do it. This is the year that we confirm what we plan on doing. Yes, it may be scary. Yes, it might be frightening. But just know that there are people there that support you, and just with a little faith, things will follow through.
That part.
So, so just do. Even if you're scared, just follow through.
That
just
part.
with a steady faith.
And that part. Right there. I'm telling you, you dropped some nuggets on today. I hope someone tuning in have been blessed. Before we go, I have to give you some love before we go. Okay. Him some love, y'all. Clap it out, clap it out, clap it out. Let's show him some love. Let's go on and clap it out. Clap it out. Thank you. We appreciate you so much for being a part of the 100 Authors Movement. I hope you guys have enjoyed it on tonight. Please join us back here tomorrow night. We're going to have 6 more amazing individuals stopping by throughout the day on tomorrow, y'all. I tell you, I have truly been blessed by these amazing authors. You're going to have an opportunity to go over, follow them on Facebook. We have blogs up of them. If you've not checked out our U42 page, go over and check it out. They have some clips, they have pictures, they have full videos. All I'm telling you, you're gonna really get an opportunity to know who each and every one of these amazing authors are attached to the 100 Authors Movement. If you are an author and you're not attached, I want to encourage you to get attached because you're missing a great opportunity to connect and collaborate with some amazing like minded individuals. Y'all be blessed. Have a good night.